Why, hello.
Hi.
I'm gonna sit down and chat with Joey over at Beauty Inside a Box.
Cool.
A very great Barbie channel. Not just Barbie, all sorts of dolls, and he does a lot of news. You guys know who I'm talking about.
He had a lot of cool shit to say. Very well informed.
Well, of course he's well informed. He's been doing this for a long time. I think you'll have fun seeing our little interaction. We'll be right back.
Maybe I'll just start by saying, do you hate being asked as much as me why you collect dolls?
You know what? I don't mind being asked it by other doll collectors. I don't like being asked it by people that don't collect dolls or people that don't really get it. When like another doll collector asks, or someone who gets it, it's more of like okay, what part of the doll, what part of the doll collecting community entices you? Like what part of it? Like they come from a level of understanding. So I do find it annoying when people are asking me in like a why do you collect dolls kind of way.
Something I get asked a lot is which I think is really just it's so obnoxious is what do you do with them? And I think what they're getting at is, do I act like a 7-year-old girl? Do I act out little scenes and play things like like that? I love vintage clothing. I love seeing like 6-scale outfits that you can display on a shelf and stuff. What would you say you do with them?
Like I think the main thing I do with them is watch TV with them. Like literally I fidget a lot. Like I'm very fidgety. So when I'm watching TV or doing anything that doesn't need like that it doesn't use my hands, I like to have a doll that I can kind of like just sit there and move her around and like brush her hair and stuff. It's just something to fiddle with basically. And they're so great to fiddle with because there's loads of different textiles and textures and stuff. And then other than that, just display them. And there's a completionist quality to collecting anything.
Are you a collector by nature? I mean, do you collect other things?
I think it runs in the family because my brother is also a bit of a collector. He has lots of Pokemon cards and stuff like that. He's more like stereotypical boy collector. I used to have a lot more different little collections, but I've kind of streamlined it just to dolls.
I've noticed a lot of people who collect dolls, they also tend to collect like makeup and clothing and things like that. Were you ever into makeup? Are you into like Drag Race and that sort of thing?
Oh my God, I literally was just watching Drag Race. I was literally just watching the most recent episode of UK versus the World. Love drag, love watching drag. I do feel like if I couldn't collect dolls, I probably would do drag or something because I need some sort of feminine, like hyper feminine outlet. I kind of, that is something, obviously drag is a completely different art form to collecting dolls. I mean, collecting dolls isn't even really an art form. Creating dolls is an art form.
Which would bring me to, is there like a Grail that you are always after that you're still after?
Probably, I really want the Midge wedding party playset. Okay. Yeah, I really want that. I feel like it was never even sold in the UK because it just never shows up in the UK. What's on your Holy Grail list?
Oh, number 1 or 2, which
goodness, yeah.
I mean, I'm not that crazy, nor do I have the money. I'm not, at some point I will get a brunette number 1. I hope.
That would be incredible.
Most ridiculous price you've ever dropped on a doll, and how much do you regret it?
I'm quite crafty. Like, I have all my search terms saved for like dolls I want, and I will wait until it pops up for a price that I'm happy to pay. I think the most I've ever paid. Oh, I paid £200 for the pregnant midge. I paid £200 for the pregnant midge. I think that's the most I've ever paid. I don't think I've paid any more than that.
Was that after the Barbie movie?
Yes, it was, because I mentioned her appearance in the Barbie movie. I do sort of regret I bought the Teen Talk Barbie and the pooping Tanner Barbie as well. Those videos didn't do so well, so it kind of felt like a bit of a waste of money. I spent like a couple $100 on those as well. I'm still glad I have them.
I don't have Tanner, the pooping dog. God, even the what's the gay Ken called Earring Magic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have earring magic Ken, although I'm not sure if I am definitely allowed to say this, but I just lent him to the British Design Museum. So he's going to be in a museum, my earring magic Ken,
Fancy.
for the next 2 years, and then he goes on tour because they're touring the exhibition. So yeah, I won't get to see my earring magic Ken for a while, but
That's
it's cool.
If you could only say one Barbie, rest of your life, what's it gonna be?
Barbie or any doll?
Any doll whatsoever.
I think it has to be Winter Moon Pocahontas from 1995 because I just love that doll so much. And I had her as a kid. I was obsessed with that doll. And that one's long gone, but I've got a new one now. Love her. And if not her, then probably Sun Colors Pocahontas. I'm such a big Pocahontas fan.
You were actually allowed to have dolls as a kid, right? I'm 39, so like totally hair Barbie was the biggest thing when I was like 8 years old. Could never get my hands on it. And it wasn't until my early 20s that I was actually allowed to do that. A lot of people assume the doll collectors are just, trying to heal their old wounds, and that's really not it.
I agree. I don't think there's like any trauma I'm, kind of processing. There is a little kind of like wish fulfillment thing. If there was a doll that I remember seeing on TV as a child and then like being able to have it as an adult is nice, and there is a satisfying element to it. So I think, both things can be true, if you know what I mean, for me.
Which makes me think, is there like a vintage Barbie commercial from the 90s that still sticks with you that I could air here? Something that you just feel magic when you think back on it.
Probably just any of the mermaid ones. I remember like Mermaid Fantasy or something, like the little girls in the commercials with these like kind of little rock pool sets with like a little beach for the dolls to play on and stuff like that. And like I remember being like, where does this little beach for the dolls exist? Where is this? I need that. And I remember trying to make my own like little mini beaches and stuff like that for the dolls. Because yeah, the doll commercial sets were just so stunning.
About a mermaid, a doll underwater, and the way the hair moves and all that is very enticing for a young boy like one of us,
Oh my goodness. The first thing I would do with my dolls when I was little is put them in the bath. The first thing I would do, put them in the bath, see how the hair moved, see how the clothing moved underwater and stuff. That's how I destroyed most of my dolls, was putting them in the bath.
Celebrity you need to see in doll form.
Oh my gosh. I mean, the first one that pops into my head is Beyonce. Obviously, they have made Beyonce dolls in the past, but not like current Beyonce. I would love like a whole line of Beyonce dolls. Like, I would love that. I mean, I've seen so many custom Ariana Grande dolls online, or I love Rihanna as well. I'm a big Rihanna fan, even though she hasn't made music in forever. Where is she? I would love a Rihanna doll. How about you?
I mean, I have been bugging Integrity Toys for a Divine doll for a long time. I feel like the drag doll could become a major thing.
I wish they'd go back to Barbie being like a drag queen. Like her looks from the 90s were drag looks. She was the first drag queen for kids, I would say.
Barbie movie. Love it, hate it, somewhere in between.
Like, okay, here's my controversial opinion. I really, really liked it. And I've seen it 3 times now. And when it gets to the bit where Ken like comes back to Barbie land and kind of takes over with the patriarchy stuff, I always, when I'm watching it, I'm like, oh, this bit's great. Why did I love this bit? And then it just goes on and it goes on, and I'm like, okay, well, I wish that was more of a side plot, like it was in the first half of the film. I just feel like the Ken misogyny bit goes on for just a bit too long. And the other thing I think is I saw another YouTuber say they thought that Will Ferrell's character was going to be an escaped Ken. And I was like, that is genius. He should have been an escaped Ken. and it would kind of explain why he's so cartoony.
I mean, the whole boardroom there could be escape Kens, really. I mean,
Yeah,
and I
and
see.
they're living out their like misogyny fantasy, patriarchy fantasy in the real world.
Do you think the perception of doll collectors has changed in the past, since like the past 10 years or so?
I think people today, probably because of like, being more aware of their mental health and stuff like that, are a lot more forgiving of people for wanting to do things that were typically deemed as for children. You know what I mean?
Even the pandemic maybe helped people see.
I think the pandemic helped. Yeah, I think a lot of people in their 20s and 30s are suffering from a little bit of arrested development because of the like social economic situation. So that, and then also like the fact that we're just a bit more kind to ourselves. Like, if something brings you joy, like why stop it? And people are a lot more accepting. Well, talking majoritively, and in the circles I run in, obviously, and I'm sure you run in, people are a lot more accepting, and people are accepting of people wanting to play with things that were typically not for their gender, and also wanting to, revisit things from their childhood and stuff like that. I think people are just a lot more accepting of that, and even celebrate it. I don't think the Barbie movie came out at the perfect time. Even if it had come out 5 years ago, I don't think it would have been as successful, because people would have been like, oh, well, that's for kids. Or, oh, well, that's for women. Men can't go and see that. But it had such broad appeal because people are just a bit more accepting now.
Like action figure collectors and all that, it used to be seen as just a strictly 40-year-old virgin kind of nerdy thing.
Yeah, it's like the whole kind of like comic book guy from The Simpsons and stuff. That's how people used to view collectors. But now I feel like most people have their little kind of collection that would previously have been deemed like for kids or unnecessary,
Yeah, I think you're right. And I think that would be a pretty decent stopping place. I'm so happy you joined me. And
this has been so fun. Honestly, I've really enjoyed it.
Isn't he great?
He is so cute.
If for some reason you are not following Joey already, I can't imagine.
If you're following this channel, you're already following his channel.
This is such a brand new channel. I've only had a YouTube channel for several months now, and I'm very grateful that Joey came on my little channel and talked Barbie with me.
It was really kind. He didn't have to do that, but it was really nice to take the time out for that.
Anyway, you guys, I have got so many other videos in the works here. There's the Gym and the Holograms, Integrity Dolls video we just shot. There's a horror themed dolls. They're not horror dolls.
We used to have this argument. We couldn't say horror. It has to be horror.
Horror dolls. Horror toys. Horror. That's coming out very soon. So, thank you guys so much for watching this. Remember, again, anyone who donates to my channel automatically gets included in my monthly giveaways over on Instagram. Make sure you're following me over on Instagram, and hit the like, subscribe, comment, the notification bell, and all that good stuff. I appreciate you guys so much, and thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.